Good evening, friends. Today we are with Mr. K.V. Acharya, All India Bank Pensioners and Retirees Confederation, and Mr. M.R. Gopinath Rao, Senior Vice President, AIBPARC Karnataka President, and Mr. G.D. Naraf, former General Secretary, AIBOC and Advisor for AIBPARC, and A.N. Krishnamurthy, General Secretary, AIBPARC. We are going to discuss about latest bank retirees pension related problems in the country. Sir, welcome to PramodNews-Eye of Barbaric, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, could you kindly share information about you and your family background and journey within the bank union and your involvement in advocating for retirees benefits, sir?
Thank you very much. My full name is K. Vedavyasa Acharya. I am basically from Karnataka, from a remote village, and on getting job in Indian Overseas Bank, I worked in Delhi, Chennai, and also in Karnataka. And during my Award Staff Union days, I was the office bearer of the Award Staff Union in the entire Delhi circle. And on becoming officer, I became the General Secretary of Indian Overseas Bank Officers Association and also served as the Director representing the officers on the board. And after that, after retirement, I was still in Delhi for a long time and came down to Bangalore recently. And during this period, we started what is called All India Bank Pensioners and Retirees Confederation with the guidance and help of All India Bank Officers Confederation. This organization was formed in 2012 to take care of the interest of the retirees. Of course, I must say that I was very fortunate to sign the pension settlement in 1993, along with the then General Secretary, Comrade R.N. Godbole, and President of the IBOC, Comrade S.R. Sengupta. In fact, our first General Secretary of IBAPARC was Mr. S.R. Sengupta, who was a very senior leader of IBOC for a very long time, along with Comrade Godbole. And from 2012 onwards, after the formation of All India Bank Pensioners and Retirees Confederation, we thought that there should be unification of the retirees organizations, and a meeting was held both in Calcutta and in Delhi, including State Bank of India pensioners associations. And ultimately all the organizations came together and decided to have a sort of a united forum for the bank retirees in the name of Coordination of Bank Pensioners and Retirees Organizations, which is called as CBPRO. And in that, the major constituent is the Federation of State Bank of India Pensioners Association, who are having more than 2 lakh membership now. And then, of course, IBAPARC, that is our organization, and another organization of the retirees, which was started way back in 1996. They also became the constituent of CBPRO, All India Retired Bank Retirees Federation, AIBRF, and then other organizations, including our BJP, sponsored organization, what is called Forum of Retired Bank Employees, 4BA, that is they are affiliated to BMS. So with the different political affiliations, though we were having, but Ours, whether it is IBOC or IBAPARC, we always believe in what is called independent trade union kind of movement. And but with all, with a common view to have a united struggle regarding the issues of the pensioners, we thought that we should come together, and CBPR was formed, and it was decided that the State Bank of India General Secretary would be one of the conveners, and from IBAPARC they made me as the joint convener, and Mr. S.C. Jain from AIBPARC was also made as one of the joint conveners. And we started functioning, but then later on Mr. Jain wanted to be the sole convener of the retirees organization, and which was not agreed to by the other constituents. And CBPRO continued, then he remained outside the CBPRO, but still a coordinated type of so many programs we had. It is not that though they went away from us, but we were involving them in the common struggles. But slowly, of course, because of their insistence on getting the sole convenership, unfortunately, they went separately. But all the remaining constituents, they remained in CBPRO.
Okay, sir. What were the significant milestone achieved during your tenure concerning retirees' welfare, sir?
I am very happy. I am very happy to say that the real work started after the formation of IBAPARC. From 2012 onwards, we were able to resolve what is improvement in family pension, which was for bank pensions it was only 15%, whereas with the ceiling, whereas in government it was 30% without ceiling, and RBI also was adopting the same this one, and that was one of the very urgent demand to be resolved by the government, and with our continuously taking up the issue with the Honorable Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharamanji. The family pension was improved from 15% to 30% without ceiling, at par with the government and RBI. That was one of the major achievements. And still a bigger achievement is that pre-2002 retirees were getting a inferior DA compensation, what is called as a tapered DA, whereas those who retired after 2002, they were getting, because of the settlement, they were getting 100% DA neutralization. This case, people went to the court. Those who did not get the DA, 100% DA neutralization, they went to the court and fought right up to the Supreme Court. Though they won the case in Madras High Court and in Calcutta High Court, but of course in the Supreme Court they lost the case. So it was thought that by all that 100% DA would not come to the pre-2002 retirees. Everybody gave up, but IBAPARC did not give up. We continued with the Honorable Union Finance Minister, and ultimately we were able to get, though the Supreme Court had given a judgment against the retirees, ultimately the government agreed to give that 100% DA to the pre-2002 retirees also, but prospectively. Then of course the people were also worried about the medical scheme. There was absolutely no medical scheme for the retirees. So in 2015, because of our persistent efforts, the unions in their wage settlement, they agreed to introduce what is called medical insurance scheme for retirees also. Of course, there are certain issues regarding the premium amount and all that. We have to make the payment by retirees themselves have to make, whereas for the serving employees it is paid by the bank. We have been demanding that retirees premium also should be paid by the bank. Then of course the resignees were not getting the pension. They were left in the lurch, and recently again we were able to see that the resignees also get the pension. And then of course the pre-1986 retirees, because its pension scheme was made effective from 1st January 1986. Those who retired before 1986, they were not given pension. So it was agreed earlier that they would be given some ex gratia amount, but it was a very paltry sum of hardly about, including DA and all that, it was coming only 3,000 rupees. Now with the efforts put in by us, even they are getting now more than 10,000 rupees minimum 10,000 rupees, and it can go little higher also. So these are all the major achievements, and the compulsory retired people were not getting the pension. For them also we were able to see that they are brought under the pension scheme.
Yes.
So these are some of the very important developments which took place only after 2012.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
How has the pension scheme for bank employees evolved over the years, particularly with the introduction of the pension settlement in 1993?
In fact, there was no pension for the bank employees and officers. Only in 1993, after the settlement was signed in 1993, the pension scheme was introduced, what is called a defined benefit pension scheme, where here the benefit is defined. Everything is very clear, how much the pension a person would get, the last down 50% of the basic pay, and there are so many, all in the regulations given, what are all the things can be given and all that, and how the pension fund should be created and how it should be administered, all these things are given. So, when we originally demanded, at the time we were in the IBOC, we were in service. We had actually demanded pension as a third benefit which is available to the State Bank of India pensioners. But unfortunately, the government did not agree and the IBA did not agree. They said that if we want to give the pension, we would give it exactly on the lines of government and RBI pension scheme. Whatever is given there. For them it is given as a second benefit only. They said that you surrender your PF. You surrender your PF. In lieu of PF, you will get the pension. It was agreed. Okay, since it is a defined benefit pension scheme, we thought that at least people would be getting a sort of a security, a sense of security would be there for the people after retirement. So it was agreed. So that it evolved like this. From third benefit, we compromised to second benefit because we were given an assurance that the pension scheme would be introduced in the banks exactly on the lines of the government and RBI scheme. And later on, of course, the new pension scheme came into existence from 2010 onwards. That is called a defined contribution pension scheme, not defined benefit. It is a defined contribution pension scheme, which is inferior to the what is called the defined benefit pension scheme, or OPS, what we call as old pension scheme. Now, all the regulations are very clearly spelled out in the bank employees pension regulations, which were duly notified in the Gazette of India, government Gazette. It is a notification in the government which has got statutory force, all the regulations. Our only issue is that now that when in government and RBI, periodically you are giving updation for pension. Updation for pension means within every wage revision there should be a periodical revision of pension also. Because pension is a deferred wage. As per the government, it is a deferred wage. And when wage revision is there, simultaneously there should be pension revision. Both are inseparable according to the Supreme Court judgment. So, on the one hand, the pension regulation very clearly says that pension would be updated. We are highlighting about a particular regulation, what is called 35(1), Pension Regulation 35(1), which very clearly says, in 1993, when the scheme was introduced and when the regulations were framed in 1995, the regulation stated like this: basic pension and additional pension, wherever applicable, will be updated for those retirees who retired between 1st January 1986 to 31st October 87. 31st October 87. Because from 1st November 87 onwards, the new settlement has come into existence. So those who retired before 31st October 87, for them the updation was given as per that particular regulation. But there was a constraint, that is, it put a time lag. Those who retired between 1st January 86 to 31st October 87. So the IBA said that this is only for those batches, for the subsequent batches we will not give. But in 2003, when Vajpayee was the Prime Minister, again at the insistence of and request of our organization and all that, the government amended the pension regulation. 35(1) is amended from removing the time lag. First January 86 to 31st October 87 was removed. It simply said basic pension and additional pension, wherever applicable, shall be updated. Instead of will be, shall be updated as per the formulas declared. So this is called formulae. It comes as formulae, means formulas declared in the this one. So our this one is that there is an amendment very clearly. At least from 2003 onwards, we are entitled for pension revision as is given to the government pensioners, and even for the RBI pensioners also they withdrew it and then they again introduced it. In 2019 ultimately they introduced it for the RBI. So this is how the whole issue is now becoming a major issue for us.
Okay. Could you shed light on the reason behind the differences in pension schemes between public and private sector bank employees? What step can be taken to address this disparity?
Honestly speaking, there is no change.
No change.
The pension regulation are common. Pension settlement is a common settlement both for private sector banks and public sector banks who are the members of the IBA. Whoever has signed the settlement, whether from private sector bank or public sector banks. Only thing is that regarding the constitution of the fund, in our case the constitution of the fund is once we surrender our PF, and every year there will be an actuary will be appointed, and as per the actuarial estimation, any shortfall comes in the fund should be made good by the banks. Same condition is there for private sector banks also, but there they have to create an annuity. They have to purchase the annuities, and probably for getting that annuities and all that, they have to, according to AS revised 15, as per the chartered accountant, this one group, the restrictions. The private sector banks have got some kind of hesitation in these matters now. But the pension regulation or pension scheme doesn't make any difference between the public sector banks and the private sector banks. And it doesn't speak about the AS revised 15 at all. AS revised 15 is a subsequent development.
Okay.
So according to us, there is whatever the public sector bank pensions are getting, the same thing the private sector bank people also should get.
Somewhere they are discussing about ex gratia.
Yes.
What about that ex gratia?
First and foremost, we are not at all happy about this ex gratia, which has been brought in by without our asking. We never demanded ex gratia. Because ex gratia is not having any kind of a statutory kind of position. It is given as a gratis.
Great.
If they want, they can give. If they do not want, they can withdraw it also. The point is that why they suddenly introduce ex gratia? Probably I think they want to sabotage the case which we are fighting in the Supreme Court. Our organization has mainly taken the responsibility of fighting the pension updation case in the Supreme Court. And they know that we are basing on 35(1). So to see that the court, in the court, they have given an affidavit, wrongly they have given an affidavit, saying that there is no provision for pension updation, which then now probably I think we expect that definitely the Supreme Court would pass strictures on them. So to obviate that, they have brought in ex gratia, saying that we are trying to take care of the interests of the pensioners. but we are not agreeable for this ex gratia. And ex gratia, though it was agreed in the settlement, probably they are taking advantage of the vulnerability of the age profile of the retirees. They think that these people in this age, they don't have the strength and will to fight further. So, okay, we can just satisfy them by giving some, throwing as crumbs, something.
Yes.
So, that is the one thing. And anyway, now they have given that ex gratia. Even that they are not implementing it properly.
Yes,
They are denying it to the private sector banks.
Yes, correct.
Well, one of the private sector banks, Federal Bank has already given.
Yeah.
Federal Bank has given. And on our taking up the issue with the IBA has sent again an advisory to all the private sector banks.
Yes.
But the only thing that it has been a very soft-worded direction. You may give them the ex gratia.
Yes.
So the private sector banks are taking advantage of that.
Yes, yes.
According to us, it should be given to everybody.
Yes.
And ex gratia, as per the understanding, it should have been reviewed and it should have been improved.
Yes.
Especially when the banks are making huge profits now. The last year the profit has gone more than 1,46,000 crores.
Okay.
Now this year we are expecting the profit of the public sector banks to cross more than 2,40,000 crores.
Okay.
So again, this ex gratia is a clever ploy by the IBA.
Okay.
And unfortunately, our friends in the UOB, they are not understanding that.
Okay.
Yeah.
When the mandate given by all the banks are common, why private sector bank pensioners are discriminated?
That's what I'm telling you. It is a tragedy that the private sector bank pensioners are discriminated. In fact, in all fairness, there should not have been any difference in respect of the payment of pension or pension updation or any pension related issue. There should not be any discrimination between the public sector banks and the private sector banks. Whoever has signed the pension settlement and whoever has signed the wage settlement periodically, all those member banks should honor the settlement and the pension regulation.
Many retirees have expressed concern about the denial of higher pension benefits, especially those who retired before September 1st, 2014. Could you elaborate on this issue, sir?
That is, what has happened is that the government also is now trying to see that the pension burden is reduced.
Okay.
They feel that pension is, for that matter, even whether it is in government or in RBI or anywhere, government has, of late, they have started feeling that probably this pension burden is becoming more, so they want to somehow see that the pension burden is reduced. So, unfortunately, in the banks, they succeeded by bringing a special component, what is called a special allowance. Special allowance, instead of giving a higher basic pay in the wage revision. Wage revision is nothing but improving the basic pay.
Okay.
Instead of improving the basic pay, instead of that, they started giving what is called special allowance, which is not reckoned for the pension, for the calculation of pension. At the time of retirement, the special allowance is exempted from the calculation of the basic pension.
Okay.
So, naturally, this was signed in 2015, effective from 2012. In the 2012 settlement, which was signed in 2015. So, from those who retired after 2012, they are suffering because of this special allowance not being taken for reckoning for the calculation of either gratuity or pension benefits. And for that also, now the people have gone to the court, and we are it is there in several high courts, and now all the cases have been clubbed in Delhi High Court, and I think ultimately the Supreme Court will take a view on that. According to us, a special allowance which is given uniformly to everybody without assigning any reasons, right from the lowest rank of staff to the general manager, everybody is getting special allowance. And that is, such kind of special allowance, according to Supreme Court, should be considered as part of the basic pay. So accordingly, the basic pension also would go up. But unfortunately, the IBA is still sticking to that, though the case is now sub judice. Very interesting thing here.
Okay.
Very interesting thing here.
Okay.
Regarding pension updation, when we had a meeting with the UOBU at the instance of the Honorable Union Finance Minister, she only arranged a meeting between AIBPARC, especially AIBPARC, and the IBA. We had nearly 3.5 hours discussion. We showed them the what is there in the pension regulation in black and white about the pension updation. They agreed with us. Yes, we agree that there is a provision for pension updation, but what to do? We have already given an affidavit saying that there is no provision. We cannot make a U-turn now. We cannot make a U-turn. Yes, and matter is now sub judice. We told that, why do you say sub judice? Sub judice is only if both the parties are not ready to come to an understanding. If you are ready to come to an understanding with us regarding the pension updation, the case becomes infructuous. So, but they say, no, the case is sub judice. Okay, there is the case is sub judice. Here also in special allowance case, the case is sub judice, because it is lying in a different courts now. But they have, in every major revision, they have gone, they went on increasing the special allowance. When there is already the matter is pending before the court about the validity of the special allowance, ignoring that fact, they are again making changes. So in one place they are using matter sub judice as a weapon to deny pension updation to us. In another place they are ignoring the matter sub judice and increasing the special allowance.
What role have unions like the All India Bank Employees Association, AIBEA, and AIBOC and UFPU played in championing retirees' causes?
See, it is a very peculiar situation. I think we do not want to say anything about our friends in the union, because we were all the members of the same organizations earlier when we were in service. And in fact, I must say that All India Bank Pension Retirees Confederation took birth when Comrade Mr. G.D. Naraf was the General Secretary of IBOC and Mr. P.K. Sarkar was the President of IBOC. They decided to start a retirees organization, saying that retirees issues can be very well taken by IBAPARC. And we only thought that these organizations, our serving members organization, will also help us, because they are the recognized trade unions for negotiation with the IBA. We are still not recognized. Though we have made an appeal, even as late as about a week back, we have written a letter to the Secretary, Department of Financial Services, demanding a separate negotiation status for us. We say that we do not want to burden the serving employees organization, because probably today, they have members, more members belonging to the new pension scheme.
Yes, sir.
Nearly 80% of their membership is from those who have opted for, those who have been given, there is no choice, they have to go for new pension scheme. And hardly 20% of their membership are under the old pension scheme. So what interest they will have? They have to more cater to the requirement of their majority membership. That is probably one constraint they are having. We understand that. They should have been also considered that we are the people who have brought up this institution, whether it is banking institution or whether it is trade unions. We are the people who have sacrificed, worked for that, and banking was in a dismal condition before nationalization, before 1969. But what a tremendous development that has taken place in the banking industry, opening branches in all the places, including in terrorist infected places, insurgency places, hardship centers, rural centers. At the nooks and corners, the banks have opened, and they have started doing all the, social objective was more important at the time. Profit was not the objective. With that, today more than 1,50,000 bank branches are there, whereas at the time of nationalization it was hardly 8,000, including State Bank of India. For such a massive expansion, we are the people who have worked in different places, done a lot, and even after retirement, no less than the Prime Minister and the Honorable Finance Minister has acknowledged that during the demonetization time, the kind of services rendered by the retirees also, when that crisis was there. And during COVID time also, the serving employees already had to undergo a lot of difficulties, but still the only industry that was functioning during the COVID was banking industry, because the banks were open at the time. All other things came to a standstill. And many of those people have now retired. And many of the people have lost their lives during the COVID when they were working in the branches. But all these things are now ignored. So the serving organizations their main concern is for their present majority membership. So in the process, we feel that they are not in a position to take care of our interest. I will not say anything more against them.
Okay, sir.
Only thing that we expect them to honor and respect their elders.
Okay, sir.
No doubt, 1 minute, no doubt they have, some of the retired leaders are still continuing as the leaders of the...
One more question, sir. One more question. How do you respond to concern expressed by the retirees who feel that the union leadership, especially the General Secretary of AIBEA, has not been proactive enough in championing the cause of improved pensionary benefit to the retired bank employees?
It's unfortunate that this kind of feeling is growing more and more among the retirees. It is why? Because even when we explain to them and when we tell them that you take us also into confidence when you go for negotiation, take us along with you so that we can put our views and together we can work. They are not responding. So probably I'm not coming about the individual, but what I'm telling that they are continuing as leaders of the serving employees. And when a suggestion came from the ministry to negotiate with the retirees organizations, it seems the leader of one of the biggest AIBOC unions, he told IBA that why are you asking them to join the negotiation? We are here. We are representing the past, we are representing the present, and we will represent the future. We only expect whether it is AIB or IBOC or any of the constituent of the or NCB, any of the constituent of UOBU, they should understand the agony of the retirees. They should not give room for the people to say that they are reluctant to help us. And unfortunately, the unions have been telling us, the UOBU have been telling us that if we give pension updation, the provisions have to be made. And provision will be, according to them, they are showing astronomical figures. That also we have contested. We have told them that what you are showing and what our calculation comes only about 3,500 crores for all the banks put together. Whereas the pension corpus is more than 4,27,000 crores. It is, they can very easily meet the extra burden which will come because of the updation very easily, because the funds are available. But unfortunately, they are believing what IBA says and they are not believing what we are saying. It is the responsibility of the serving employees organizations to come to to understand the importance and the responsibility they have got for the retirees, and they should at least try to see that image what they are having, that probably they are coming as a stumbling block or they are, instead of helping, they are harming us. This image they have to remove by their actions. That's all I will say.
Okay. As per observation, parallel agitational programs on one side, your confederation is arranging dharna, demonstration, memorandum, etc. on the other side. AIBRF is doing the similar agitation. Bank retirees are interested in joint action by both of you together. Why not you join and hold joint action, sir?
Rightly said. I told you that our organization always believed in unification.
Okay.
That's how CBPRO came into existence as early as in 2014. 2012, IBAPARC came into existence. Within 2 years, CBPRO was formed. At the time, including AIBRF also was part of the CBPRO. It is they themselves who walked out of the CBPRO. And now with some other small organizations they have joined and they say that we are a UFBRO like that, some kind of this one. We have absolutely no problem. We had conducted the joint demonstrations right in Jantar Mantar along with the AIBRF. And any day, if they are joining us, they are always welcome. We are ready to give them the same kind of position which they were holding at the time of the constitution of the CBPRO. And but anyway, retirees as such, whether they belong to AIBRF or whether IBAPARC or State Bank of India Federation or whether it is other organization, the common cause is there. And these demonstrations are conducted simultaneously by everybody. So retirees are on a agitational mood. The government has come to know that.
As far as serving unions are concerned, 9 different unions have come together and formed UFBU. They are from different ideologies. Why CBPRO and AIBRF come together under one umbrella organization?
Yeah, this is a question more to be put to AIBRF than to us. Because they are the person who left us. They have walked out of the CBPRO.
They are not available for discussions.
That is one thing. And second thing is that political differences is not exactly making any kind of impact on our unification. Knowing fully well that they have got a different leanings and we have got a independent character and all that, still we came together.
Okay.
But the only thing that approaching the issues, they are not believing in the regulation 35(1). Let the IBA do not believe. IBA is not ready to accept 35(1). Government is not ready to accept 35(1). UOBU is also dilly-dallying about 35(1). Even AIBRF is silent about 35(1) in all their circulars, whereas it is in black and white. It is a official gazette notification. So if the people are not able to read what is there in black and white, the real truth, and they say that let us work together. Fundamentally, they should come together on the issues. There should be unanimity, like-minded kind of approach should be there. We are always ready for anybody joining us. They should join CBPRO and we will have the movement strengthened.
Sir, I understand that the position of conveners post is the issue because of which retirees organizations are not united. Why not you work out a solution for this, sir?
We have already worked out. We have very clearly told that there will be. See, I should appreciate State Bank of India Federation. They are the largest constituent of the CBPRO. Still, they said that no, we will have joint convener post. They can as well demand sole convenership. They did not. They said that there will be joint conveners of 3 main organizations: State Bank of India, IBAPARC, and AIBRF.
What measures would you recommend to ensure that bank retirees receive fair and adequate benefit in the future?
There are 2 things. One is the organizational action programs. We will continue. Anybody joining us, always welcome. It will only further strengthen the movement. Number 1. Second thing is that at this age, the government is also forcing us to go to the courts. And judiciary is always a time-consuming process. Unfortunately, the case which is now pending before the Supreme Court, the main petitioners, at least 3-4 of them have already left the world. But still, IBAPARC has taken the responsibility of pursuing this case on behalf of the original petitioners, and we have engaged the lawyers. We expect, though there is adjournments are coming and coming, but then still we expect that probably in August or so, the final hearing will come, and we are 100% certain that the case will be decided in our favor, because the regulation is very crystal clear, which says that bank pensioners are entitled for pension updation. There is a regulation, and it is also on the lines of RBI and government. I will add one more regulation, regulation 56. Regulation 56 is the last regulation in the pension regulation, which is having a salutary effect. It is called residual issues. There it says that any doubt in regard to implementation of the pension scheme in the banking industry, reference should be made to government pension scheme. When such a categorical assertion is there in the pension regulation, both in the name of 35(1) and regulation 56, I don't think that the judiciary can go against us, and we are very confident of winning the case. Okay. But meanwhile, we feel as a civilized society, the country which always speaks about sabke saath, sabka vikas, sabka vishwas, all these things, why bank pensioners should be left out? We are now nearly 10 lakh pensioners. Can they refuse to talk to us? The negotiation rights is the minimum kind of courtesy the government should extend to the pensioners. Not only on pension updation issue, on all the issues, because there are special allowances. The resignee case is not totally to the satisfaction. All these things can be ironed out if a proper negotiation status is given to us. And government is bound to, this government which is always claiming that they are for all people, but only unfortunately two sections had served the best the country. One is the Jawans and another is the bank employees. But unfortunately, the bank people are left in the lurch, which is neither good for doesn't speak well of the government, nor of the IBA, nor of the serving employees organizations. And we expect by all these programs, because we cannot go on strike, we have retired. Why we are having this demonstration? Only to make the public to be aware that we are being humiliated. We are not given our due. That is the main this one. So anyway, we are very hopeful that we are on the right track, and we will get justice.
Okay. What is the status of pension option to resignees?
Pension options to resign, it has already come, but it is not implemented properly.
Okay.
There are two things. One is that they are asking for all vote records. These people have retired or resigned nearly about 30 years back. They may not be having all the records with them. The bank is not ready to provide the records, their records. For want of records, many people have still not got the pension, though the decision is taken to give pension to them. Second thing is that once the resignees have been given the pension, it should be given as per the regulation. They are not given a competition benefit. They are not given 5 years that extra notional service benefit, which are all available in the regulation. You do the things as per the regulation. Once you agree, say they may say that no, we have been kind enough to give a pension to the resignees, whereas in government it is not there. Whereas in even our UOB people were telling that government में वो नहीं है, RBI में नहीं है. No question of resignees in RBI and government, because in RBI and government, once a person completes 20 years of service, if he wants to leave, give up the service, automatically it is considered as VRS. Whereas in banks, though people have completed 20 years of service, which is a pensionable service for them, they said that either you give a resignation, we will not give you the VRS. So they were compelled to go on resignation. Now, when you bring them at par by telling that we will give pension to them also, then they should follow the pension regulation. Unfortunately, that is not being done by the IBA. So we are telling the IBA, we have again written to IBA, saying that you should treat them at par with any other VRS optees, any VRS pension optees.
Okay. Last question, sir. How can current and future union leaders continue the advocacy for retirees' welfare?
I was telling the difficulty of the present leadership of UOBU. Probably they are more concerned about their majority membership,
Okay.
which is who have opted for the new pension scheme. But it is a moral responsibility, more than this one, it is a moral responsibility on the part that we are all belonging to the same fraternity. You cannot say that you are the old people and we are the young people. All of us are one family. What is Nirmala Sitharaman told in the interview, and also when she addressed the AGM of IBA, she told that please treat them as members of your own family, the serving employees and the retired employees. This spirit of family and fraternity should be followed by the present leadership. We hope that, I think recently we have written, yesterday only we have written a letter to all the UOBU constituents, thanking them for one thing. Because wherever they have tried to, because now the medical insurance scheme issue is being discussed.
Yes, sir, yes.
With the IBA. We have given some suggestions.
Okay.
And I am very happy to say that verbatim, whatever suggestions we have given, those suggestions have been echoed by the UOBU in the meeting.
Okay.
So when they have done a good thing, we have immediately sent a thanksgiving letter to them,
Okay.
saying that you have taken up our issues. Whether it will happen or not, that is different. But what we want is a minimum courtesy from them to take up the issues. They have taken up that issue. In the same way, they will take up the other issues also. I hope, I think they will be wise enough to take up those issues.
Okay, sir. GD Nadaf, sir, can you tell me whether any court cases are there in this pensioners fighting, sir?
Thank you, Pradeep ji. I am GD Nadaf. I was the General Secretary of the All India Bank Officers Confederation when this IBAPARC was formed in 2012. I am from State Bank of India. I was also General Secretary of the All India State Bank Officers Federation, and I was also for some time convener of the United Forum of Bank Unions. Now I would like to tell you about what is the legal sanctity or legal aspect of our demand as far as the pensioners are concerned. You are aware that the landmark judgment in case of the Nakara versus Union of India, which has given a clear-cut verdict saying that you cannot discriminate or you cannot create a classification of the retirees based on their date of retirement. And they should be treated as per the Article 14 of the Constitution of India, that like should be treated alike and they should be given all the protection. And that Nakara case say that pension is not a gratis, it is a deferred wages. You cannot discriminate on the strength of their date of retirement. Recently, you have also seen that this week itself, the Supreme Court has given a direction or a verdict saying that in respect of the retired High Court judges, there cannot be a different pension based on the different date of retirement. They should be given equal pension. That is nothing but it is on account of that Nakara versus Union of India case itself. And cost aspect is nowhere should come nearer. You are aware that when there was a discrimination between salary and allowance between the Reserve Bank of the RRB, that is rural banks, regional rural banks and the commercial banks, Justice Obul Reddy gave a verdict in 1991 itself saying that there cannot be a different salary structure. People who are working in the banking industry, equal pay for equal work based on the Article 14 of the Constitution of India. It is not the paying capacity of the regional rural banks. It is based on that constitutional provisions. They must get parity in salary. That is how that Grameen Bank people were extended the same salary and allowance which is applicable to commercial banks. Similarly, in respect of the regional rural banks, irrespective of the paying capacity of the rural banks, that parity in salary and allowance was introduced in the 1991 itself. And recently you are aware that though today's regional rural banks may not be capable of bearing the cost of the pension, Supreme Court has given a verdict saying that that for the regional rural banks also, pension has to be introduced. That is how from 1/11/1993 onwards, for the regional rural banks, the pension which is applicable for the bank employees is extended to regional rural banks also. Now that a new provision, now the thing has come in the minds of the IBA, though IBA has given a wrong affidavit before the court saying that there is no provision of 35(1) in the pension regulations for the updation, etc. They are now coming about the cost aspect also. Cost is, though the sufficient cost is available in all the banks, but they are telling that cost aspect is there. And new version is that since a court case is pending before the court, therefore we cannot consider their request, it becomes sub judice. I would like to remind the IBA that the second option on pension, that is one more option for pension. So many people here filed cases in 90s before the Supreme Court, High Court, so many courts also. At that time also, during our 9th bipartite discussions in 2009 and 2010, the court cases were there as far as the one more option for the retirees was there. But despite that, the government permitted the IBA to discuss with our UFBU, and we in the 9th bipartite that we demanded one more option on pension, and a settlement was reached. So all those cases which were filed before and pending before the court become infructuous. I mean to say that there is no bar or no restriction on government or the IBA to come out and settle the issue outside the court. Not necessarily that court only has to give a verdict, though we are very confident court will definitely give a justice and we will definitely win it. But it is a question of time that so many people have already left this world. And what is the use of getting a favorable reply or the favorable verdict after 5 years or 10 years? There will be nobody to enjoy these benefits also. So this outside the court, through the negotiations, either with the United Forum of Bank Unions or with the United Forum of the Bank Retirees and the CBPRO, they can settle issue according to the provision available in the pension regulation itself. That is section 35(1) of the bank employees regulation. If there is any doubt about that, as has been already told, that according to section 56 of the bank employees pension regulations, they can seek a clarification from the Government of India. When in Government of India, also in Reserve Bank of India, updation takes place. In Reserve Bank of India, updation has taken place from the 1st March 2019. And we are demanding that at least for the bank employees, from the 1st March 2019, based on the same formula which has been applied in case of the Reserve Bank of India, should be extended to us also. They are not ready because that unwillingness is there on their part to consider our request. Cost is only a given reason. So how they have come to know that this cost, that fund is not available? As we are concerned, that we know that no actuary has given any figure. As in the case of the second optional pension, actuarial figures were taken. 6,200 crores was the amount required for the second optional pension. Based on that, the UFBO, we negotiated with the IBA, and certain portion of the cost also the unions bore at that time, and the second optional pension came into effect. Now today for the updation, it is only talking without any figures and other things, saying that there is no sufficient balance, etc. Which actuary has arrived into the figure? No one knows how much money is required, and according to our the information which you have got it from the actuary and other things, sufficient amount is available in the funds of the banks. And also, suppose for the sake of the argument, if there is no sufficient balance, who should be punished for that? It is a duty, according to AS 15, the duty of the banks to keep sufficient balance in the pension fund. As every year, that before signing the pension, that is what is the balance sheet of the banks, it is compulsory that they have to satisfy the auditor saying that sufficient provision has been made in respect of the NPS, in respect of the pension, etc. When they are taking care of the writing up of the NPAs by crores and crores of rupees, why can't they have not transferred the sufficient funds to the pension fund to take care of the pension liability? I think we doubt about that they are saying that there is no sufficient balance, etc. According to us, there is a balance, and we don't have any forum to discuss and put before them all our arguments. And they have created one more anomaly between the pensioners and the serving organizations. There is a clear-cut direction that the DA formula, dearness allowance formula, should not be different for the retirees and should not be different for the serving organization. In the 12th bipartite, the DA formula has been improved or changed, base year has been changed, and accordingly at the 8,088 point was merged with the basic pay as far as the serving organizations are concerned. As far as the pensioners are concerned, we have a different DA formula. If you go through the DA formula applicable to our pensioners, it is more than a dozen formulas are applied to in case of the pensioners. As far as the serving organization is concerned, a single formula is applied. When that was demanded, now they have come out with again new phrase saying that any demand of the pensioners should be cost neutral. Whether we have to laugh or cry, I don't know. No demand can be cost neutral. Tomorrow they may say that cost neutral shall revision, cost neutral some demands. How can be cost neutral will be there? Some cost will be there. Whether this cost neutral has been taken into care while extending the new formula to the serving organization, why they are now discriminating, telling about the cost neutral other things, this is another thing which they have introduced now. These are some of the issues on the legal aspect itself. We are ready as far as the IBARC is concerned. We are ready for the negotiated settlement as per the section 35(1) of the pension, bank employees pension regulation, and the court cases pending and etc. We are not filed. IBARC has not filed any case before the court, and there is the IBA putting a condition that all those cases will to withdraw and other things. It is not possible for us to tell the individuals and others organizations to withdraw that case. Similar situation was there in 2009, and then when second option and pension was settled outside the court. Now also that IBA may call us for the discussion and negotiate and extended this the updation of the pension for the bank employees, including the State Bank of India employees also. This is only my fervent request to the UFBU leadership that they should counter all these arguments. Otherwise, we are not there in that directly to discuss with the IBA. That is why all these things, we are depending on the media, we are depending on the politicians, we are depending on the governments in power. Therefore, if the negotiating forum is available to us, then the bank, that is pensioners organizations, compared to serving organization, there may be 9+ organizations, whereas the pensioners, hardly about 4 or 5 major organizations are there. We can definitely go together and negotiate before the IBA on all these aspects without waiting for the courts to take a final decision, because Tariq pe Tariq, that date after dates are coming in the courts. Though we have 100% confidence on the court decisions, but when it comes is important. Justice delayed is justice denied. Therefore, my fervent request to the United Forum, our leadership, that they should also join with us in discussing that, taking us into confidence, either giving us a forum for the negotiation, or they should take up sincerely all our demands before the IBA. We are open for both. Thank you.
Mr. A.N. Krishnamurthy, General Secretary, IBARC, AIBPARC.
Good evening, friends. I am A.N. Krishnamurthy, Secretary of IBAPARC Karnataka State Unit and the Working President of IBAPARC. I am happy to put forth the viewpoints of the issues of retirees by our Honorable President Mr. K.V. Acharya, our advisor Mr. G.D. Nadaf. The irony is, once the bank employee retires, his pension is frozen. Though the bank employees pension scheme is on the lines of Government of India pension as well as Reserve Bank of India pensions, bank employees retirees pension is not updated in spite of being a statutory force in the form of pension regulation, that is 35(1). We are pinning hopes on regulation 35(1). So we are confident of getting justice by way of judiciary in respect of singular case, though the question is when, and I am hopeful that justice will be on our side. In the meantime, we request the UFBU leadership and the IBA to understand the problems of the bank pensioners and retirees and come to our rescue in resolving these burning issues, particularly the updation of pension. Thank you.
Mr. M.R. Gopinath Rao, President, Karnataka, AIBPARC. Sir, please conclude your words, sir.
Good evening and thank you very much for this opportunity that you have given. I have already heard both the President of AIBPARC and also the advisor, Comrade Nadaf, Mr. Acharya and Mr. Nadaf, very clearly have stated the issues of the retirees, and your questionnaire very clearly wanted to know as to what are the issues of the retirees and as to how it should be addressed and how to resolve it. But unfortunately, I want to tell you that I started my career in much before the nationalization of the banks, and from that day to this day I have seen as to how the trade unions have grown. At that time, the trade unions were struggling to see to it that the proper service conditions of the employees, whether it is clerical or officers, are taken care of, and there must be uniform wages in the banking industry. But that we were able to achieve it with a lot of struggle and sacrifices. And if what an employee, an officer or an employee in the clerical banking industry is enjoying is because of those sacrifices of those leaders at that time. And forgetting that these sacrifices having done, these are the people who are in their late 60s and aged people, senior citizens, their interest should have been taken by the present leadership. Unfortunately, it is not happening. It's a very, very sad situation, and issues part of it very clearly stated by our President, Mr. Acharya, and about the court cases, Mr. Nadaf has also very clearly stated as to where exactly stands. But in my opinion, where there is a will, there is a way. If only Indian Bank Association and government decides that this issue can be resolved, as IBA says that it is sub judice, and they want us to withdraw the cases. Rightly pointed out by Mr. Nadaf that cases are individually fought by certain individuals, not organizationally. We have not filed any cases. But still, if the issue is to be resolved and IBA says that it is pending in the court and all that, it can be decided outside the court also. There are many cases where the issues of recovery of loans and other things, courts, even without going to the court or even in the court where the cases are pending, IBA has seen to it that it is all resolved outside the court. So if they take a decision, this also can be resolved. But unfortunately, it is not so. But what we are fighting today is to see to it that injustice that has been done to the retirees and the discrimination that is there. I just want to tell you that the retirees today, what we are fighting is based on the discrimination that is there. Very clearly, the pension regulation says that it is in the line of the central government pension scheme and also Reserve Bank pension scheme. When both central government employees, retired employees, as well as RBI retired employees are getting this updation and all other benefits, why only the nationalized bank employees or the private bank employees have to be denied this? It is on that issue we are fighting. And I'm sure that with all the regulations very clear in our favor, this case is going to be a successful case as far as we retirees are concerned, and we will fight, because we fought, as I had told that I started my career much earlier. We will see to it that we will fight to the last. Though retirees are a vanishing tribe, but we have the determination to fight, and we will fight to the last. Thank you very much.
Thank you for giving into for our channel. KV Acharya sir, JD Nadaf sir, MR Gopinath Rao sir, AN Krishnamurthy sir.
Thank you.
Thank you sir.